It seems like every single week we call my man up and he gives us the best news. And Billy, LSU's got a signing period coming up, and they are still searching for a defensive coordinator. Is that affecting recruiting?
I don't think so. The major targets that they have out there on the defensive side of the ball have really long been guys like McKinley Jackson, who's been an Ed Ogeron, Dennis Johnson, Bill Johnson type of project, and certainly Jordan Birch is one that's been prioritized by Ed Ogeron especially. So some of those defensive guys are just going to have to trust the fact that Ed Ogeron is there. He's a defensive coach. He knows what he wants, and I think by the time signing period rolls around, I think they'll work out the whole defensive coordinator situation.
Billy, Dan Canterbury here. Just got a question for you. With this new transfer portal and the graduate transfers, who do you think would be some picks for LSU to potentially come here as a graduate transfer?
Oh man, I'll be honest with you. I don't have too much of a read on that. I think the portal is something where LSU will explore those options and look at what they can bring in just because of winning a national championship. I think there'll be some interest there from potential transfers. But as far as potential names, it's pretty early right now. Still, I know you're starting to see some of the quarterback dominoes start to fall and kind of see all of that start to shake out on some level. But there's also a lot of transfers that'll enroll in school for the spring semester and then quickly kind of enter the portal. And so there's going to be a whole second round of that. And I think LSU is just going to stay patient.
Billy, if you had to have your best guess as far as who signs with LSU in February, what are those names? We all know the class that signed in the early signing period in December. What do you expect in February?
I think one name that's really kind of starting to float to the top at the running back position is Tre Bradford, who's out of Lancaster. He's set to take an LSU official visit here coming up. He's somebody that I've got my eye on, and we do at Go 24/7 as somebody that can really, more likely than not, end up in this class at this point. And there's a couple other schools that are in the mix, but he stayed patient. He didn't sign early. LSU is a school that offered during his senior season as things kind of not started to fall apart with Zack Evans, but the potential that he wasn't going to end up at LSU started to become a real serious thing. They put an offer on the table and wanted him to delay, and I think they got their wish, and it could very well pay off for them by landing him if he does end up at LSU.
All right, so I'm going to ask you about the guy that seems to be talked about every single week, Zack Evans out of Houston. His recruitment's been all over the place. We know that. We know what he said, what he's done, all those things. Where does he stand? Because I even sent you a text yesterday. He puts his picture out there in an LSU uniform, and I'm like, oh, boy, here we go again. What's the latest you're hearing?
He was at Ole Miss this past weekend, and he's just – it's all over the place. I don't really think LSU's very serious with him right now. They're kind of just letting it play out. They're recruiting guys like Tre Bradford and Jahmyr Gibbs and Darvin Hubbard and people like that, and then just kind of seeing where things end up with Evans. But right now, I don't think they're very serious with him. That much I can tell you.
All right, we've got a question inside the Bayou Ford Huddle for you, Billy. Can you ask Billy when they will update their final rankings?
Yeah, I think right now about a week before National Signing Day, our guys are going through it. We've had analysts at every single major bowl, from Under Armour to All-American Bowl to Poly Bowl to some of the other lower key ones that maybe aren't nationally televised, putting together all the notes, watching all the film that our analysts can, and all of our team site guys are sending in players that we think should be bumped or maybe move down a little bit and giving our feedback. So they're kind of collaborating on all of that and putting that together over the next couple of weeks.
All right, speaking of guys that are kind of moving up the ranks, it seems like Eric Gilbert has, continued to impress wherever he's been. Elias Ricks and Jordan Towles as well. Seem like all those guys are moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I would say so. All stock-up guys for the most part. Elias Ricks, though, just didn't end up competing down the stretch here with his shoulder surgery that he's recovering from, but somebody that obviously is a five-star prospect, number one corner in the country on 24/7 right now. And then one player that I want to share is Keyshawn Butte right out of Louisiana. He's been unbelievable in every setting, super productive as a senior, ridiculous track times. was the top receiver in the Under Armour game. He's somebody that I could definitely see ending up another 5-star for LSU.
All right, as we do every single time we have you on, let's talk quarterbacks. You've had a chance. TJ Finley was at bowl practice, and that's some experience that he's gained. You've got some early enrollees, and these quarterbacks, obviously, they're going to be freshmen, and Myles Brennan's going to be the starter, but they're also competing with each other. Max Johnson, TJ Finley, much like we saw, Matt Flynn, Jamarcus Russell when they came in 2003. That's an important battle as well to see maybe who can back up and compete with Peter Parrish as far as that main backup.
For sure, that's I think a big benefit for both of them to enroll early is to start making that push for that backup spot behind Myles Brennan or whoever it is if they do bring in somebody else from the transfer market. But yeah, both guys have that whole off season to get ready and put in the work and then see kind of how the dust falls by the time fall rolls around.
All right, and Billy Embody is our guest from 247 Sports here on Hanging with Hester. Everyone I talked to around the LSU program, a name that we haven't really talked about a lot on air on any show is Josh White out of Houston, Texas. When you talk to people around the program, they say this is going to be – it's hard to be a diamond in the rough when you're a 4-star player, but he's not the 5-star player. He's 143rd nationally, but still a really good player. But they say watch out for this guy to make an impact from day one. What's kind of your evaluation of Josh White?
He's super productive. Each year as a high school prospect, he got better and better on the field in terms of putting up big numbers, big tackle numbers, and making plays all over. He's just kind of undersized right now. He's 6'1", about 200 pounds. So as he gets into the college level, he'll be another one where you want to see him just continue to work hard and put on that weight and then become the productive player that he was at the high school level at the college level. I think he's somebody that could factor into special teams early on as a freshman and really just develop into a really, really strong player.
All right, he is Billy Embody, good enough to join us. It seems like every single week here on Hanging with Hester. Billy, we always appreciate the time, my man.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.